My name is Walter Ginter. I live in Westport, Connecticut, with my wife. We own a house. I have two dogs, a new Volvo, and a station car like everybody else who lives up there. And most days I ride Metro North just like everybody else to New York City. On the train, I think I'm completely indistinguishable from everybody on the train, except for one thing. Each day I take a medication, a maintenance medication, to treat my opiate dependence. I grew up in the 60s. Okay, it was the hippie era. I experimented with marijuana and wine and LSD and all the things that my peers did. In 1970, I went into the Army. In 1972, I was discharged as a heroin addict. I continued to use until 1977, and that's when I got married. In 1978, I went into treatment. And the treatment I went into was methadone. Methadone worked great for me. I got my life together. I had a great job. The house we live in, we bought then. It just was a great experience. My life got together. I was happy. And the company I worked for, my boss offered me a promotion. No, my boss knew I was in methadone treatment. It wasn't a surprise to him. I was very open about it. And he came to me one day and he said, "Walter, I want to promote you to national sales manager." And the company is still in business today, and it's a huge company. Obviously I can't give you the name of it, but I mean, it would have been, I would be in very, very good shape financially if I would have actually taken that job. But anyway, he wanted me to take the job, but he wanted me to get off methadone. He said, "You're too smart to be on that junkie drug. You have too much going for you." And well, who would say you're too smart to be on insulin? You have too much going for you, to be on Lipitor. Anyway, so I really wanted the promotion, and I believed what he said, and I wasn't a tough sell. So I went into a 28-day detox, and I came out, and I was drug-free for about an hour. So the job didn't work out. I worked with him for a couple of years, then I went on into business on my own. But the next time, I went back into methadone treatment, and again, I was doing well for a couple of years. And then one day, my wife and I decided to take a cruise on a QE2. About a week before I was supposed to go, the program called me in and said I had a positive toxicology for some drug that I had never used in my life. It was something like barbiturates or something off the wall. And I said, "Well, that's not true. I've been in treatment here for 3 years. If I've ever come, positive or anything like that, that must be a mistake." And they said, "Well, we're sorry, we can't give you a vacation medication. But you can't go on the cruise." And I said, "Wait a minute. You can say you're not going to medicate me. You ain't going to tell me I ain't going to go on a cruise." So obviously I did what everybody in that circumstance would do. I bought medication on the street and went on a cruise. But then when I came back, I had to go to another program and start again at coming every day and being stabilized and all the things I'd gone through 2 or 3 times before. And that was kind of the way my methadone career went. I'd be on treatment for a couple of years, and then sometimes it was peer pressure, self-pressure a lot, or just the oppressive regulations of the methadone system for one reason or another. Like the cruise, caused me to leave and go to another program. Same thing year after year. I ended up, one day I tried to count it up and I realized I'd been in 8 programs over the course of 27 years. So eventually I was contacted by methadone advocates. Actually, Joyce, who's outside, contacted me and asked me if I wanted to get involved in advocacy. And I said, "No, I'm not I didn't even know what advocacy was, but I knew I didn't want to get involved in it." Joyce is a scientist, and she's well-versed in this, and she started talking to me about addiction and what addiction is and what's going on. And I learned, that addiction is a disease. And, and I learned how methadone works and all the things it did. And I had been in treatment at this point for 19 years. I never knew any of this stuff. I was angry. I mean, really, really angry. The first thing I was saying is, why didn't the program tell me this? Why am I going in and out of treatment? Why do I feel like crap all the time? Why do I feel like, what a methadone patient feels like? A failed junkie. Everybody comes into treatment with the idea that I'm only staying for 3 months. When I get my act together, I'll get back on dope. You know what I mean? Because that's the way it's presented to you. You're a junkie. Instead of saying, this is the first day of the rest of my life, the best thing that ever happened to me, I'm in treatment, you come in with the idea as I failed, and this is the low point. Yeah, then I started to realize something. I realized that, the program couldn't tell me that. Because if they would have told me, you have a brain disorder, and you may be on medication for the rest of your life, I would have turned around and said, "You bloodsuckers, you're just trying to squeeze the last dollar out of me." Okay? And that's pretty much the way every patient feels, and they feel, just to this day, it's exactly the same. So that's when I became an advocate.